So let's talk about Ford,
Yeah.
who we've had on stage and has been a partner for Techonomy many times before. I went to a great Techonomy event in Detroit where there was a lot. I got to tour the Ford factory. When Ford's got a long history of sustainability. When most people hear car company, they're like, "Oh, Ford is trying to be more sustainable. You should make all electric cars." That's part of the sustainability equation for Ford, but maybe you can talk a little bit about how it goes above and beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, electric vehicles, electrification is certainly a big part of it. But, the journey into decarbonization of vehicles, more efficient vehicles is not a new thing for Ford. When you're a full line manufacturer and you're producing small cars, large cars, trucks, SUVs, you have to provide a range of solutions for customers. We had the first hybrid SUV, produced by an American company, the Escape Hybrid, that's been around forever. You have to find those solutions that can appeal. So even as we think about today, what's the future, the crystal ball on fully electric vehicles, extended range, plug-in hybrid vehicles, traditional hybrids, it is going to take everything. And as excited as we are about the electric vehicles that we have in the marketplace and the new generation of vehicles that are coming off of our new universal platform, we've never left the other technologies behind. So whether it's more efficient internal combustion engine vehicles, we have our EcoBoost line of direct injection turbo boosted vehicles, hybrid electric vehicles. We have them all because at the end of the day, the customer is going to dictate what that ultimate mix is. The key for us is to be able to provide those solutions so we can get them to scale and ultimately, work towards full carbon neutrality.
Talk a little bit about that hybrid category, because I know when electrics were still ramping up, there was a lot of momentum, there was a lot of talk. It's like, no, we're going to skip right past hybrid vehicles and we're going to offer 100% electric because that's the best thing to do. But in truth, the market sort of wanted something else.
I think it's at the end of the day that's right. I mean, customers are going to want to be able to have a choice. And so while there were some, I think, that maybe weren't in the hybrid electric game and we're trying to figure out, where things were going to go maybe in the next 10 to 15 years as opposed to the next, 5 years or so, maybe some went all in on electric. But I think some of those manufacturers are realizing now they left a good segment of the market behind. So as I mentioned earlier, Ford never left hybrid electric vehicles. We've had, as I mentioned, the Escape, our small SUV, was a hybrid electric vehicle, even 20 years ago. We have our F-150, our crown jewel full-size pickup that is also a fully electric. The Lightning, that's a hybrid. Our Maverick pickup, which has been a hit with the younger generation, also comes in a hybrid. So it is a technology that I think as more people are looking to have more efficiency, lower cost of ownership, but maybe they're not quite ready for a plug-in vehicle, is going to be there. You're right. So we're not leaving hybrids behind either by any stretch.
In working in the electric vehicles, it also changes what the product can offer.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about how, once you've got an all-electric truck, some of the opportunities that opens up that most consumers might not be aware of?
It is. It's been a lot of fun. Obviously, fully electric vehicles provide, zero emissions, a lot of different utilities. But when you take a vehicle like an F-150 pickup, the best-selling vehicle in the country for, the last 40 plus years running, and you make it fully electric, it's fun when you pull up in a parking lot or, you're at a tailgate or something, people who are used to an F-150. And one of the things I love to do with my Lightning is pop the front hood because, people are expecting to see a bunch of battery and other stuff. And here it is, this whole other compartment of storage that we call the frunk, right? It's the front trunk. So you pick up all this extra utility in terms of storage, but then you also have this big battery on the vehicle that a lot of times when it's sitting might otherwise be doing nothing, but why not use it as a generator, a portable generator when you are at a tailgate or a campsite, when you need in an emergency response and a power failure to provide electricity, returning it to your home. An F-150 Lightning can power your home for 3 days or more in a power outage. But then if you take it to another level, where if you can take that power and not just return it to your home, but maybe even return it to the electrical grid in times of high demand, now you get into a situation where maybe there's a value equation for the customer to get money back from their utility. And we have a couple pilot programs that we were talking about earlier, Dan, that are underway where customers are getting to see that value. So as the cost of these vehicles come down, as we get into newer battery technology, we have to find other ways to increase the value for customers, and we're seeing it with some of these other features for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these products come at a premium over traditional vehicles. Yeah. But I mean, when you add in the cost of a portable generator,
yes,
that, you know, you've got a lot of storms going through, you want to be able to make sure the heat stays on during a storm.
Exactly.
Like, to be able to do that, you know, and not have a separate generator, suddenly new things become cost effective.
You can, and I mean, and also when you think of generators, diesel generators making a lot of noise, I mean, a generator that's running off of stored electricity is quiet, has other opportunities, maybe more mobile. So yeah, we've been really proud of how we've been able to support emergency response, whether it's in extreme weather events in the south, wildfires out west. These vehicles are serving purposes not just for retail customers, but for commercial fleets, first responders, and others. They can do everything that, you know, internal combustion engine vehicles can do. But again, different customers are going to have different needs overall, so we're not going to abandon the others either.
So obviously, there's a lot of focus on the consumer segment.
Yes.
Everybody's familiar with those vehicles, but just as important is sort of making your, you know, corporate fleets and your business fleets more sustainable.
Exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about that, how that market's evolved?
It's been interesting to see because the small businesses, the corporate fleets, as you say, other large fleets, they're the ones that are doing the math on electric vehicles, right? So even though there's a premium for these vehicles up front when you buy them, when they look at their operating costs and the ability to save, you know, on fuel, the ability to save on maintenance, you know, you don't have to do oil changes, you don't have to change spark plugs, a lot of the other things that can, you know, go wrong or require maintenance with an internal combustion engine vehicle. Those customers depend on their vehicles being up and running all the time. And especially if they can charge them at their depots overnight and they know they're never going to run out of charge because they run the same routes every day, that has been a real appeal. And for us, we talk a lot about our F-150 Lightning. We have our Mustang Mach-E electric vehicle, which is a lot of fun. But our whole transit commercial van franchise is electrified now around the world, and it has been a real enabler. So it's the vehicles, but it's also the partnership with our suppliers. And so when we talk about sustainability at Ford, it's really those three pieces. The vehicles are the biggest part. It is our operations and what we're doing to continue to modernize those operations. It's a big industrial company. We have these plants around the world that have been up and running, how we convert them. The Dearborn truck plant, which is what we've historically called the Rouge Complex, adding a green roof. Here was a facility that we otherwise could have taken down, but kind of revolutionized what that's used for. And again, this new frontier now with our suppliers, whether it's battery suppliers and others, helping them to decarbonize. So we have a fully integrated approach. It's really an exciting time all the way around.
So maybe let's dig into that supplier relationship, which
Sure.
I think, you know, it happens long before consumers see it, long before businesses buy your product. But, you know, this is the long tail that people don't see.
That's right.
What kind of moves are you making with your suppliers in order to make sort of the entire chain more sustainable?
Yeah, you know, it's about their kind of life cycle emissions and the way that they bring their components to our products. So working with them, sharing best practices about how we've converted our own facilities, how they can make their facilities more efficient, but also just how more lower carbon intensive plastics and other materials can be used in components like electrical switches, vehicle interiors, seats, instrument panels, really making sure that we're giving our suppliers the signals longer term to invest in those technologies. But the truth of the matter is their own constituents are demanding the same from them, right? That they're thinking longer term, that they're climate resilient. Their investors are looking at it the same way as ours are. So when we can partner with them, get that scale, you know, get that last bit of it in terms of all the upstream emissions and other things, that is really going to be the focus of our next frontier now that we've done so much with our own operations and our vehicles.
Ford's also, you know, been very transparent about the moves that you've been making, reporting and getting information out there. Can you talk a little bit about the efforts you've gone to sort of be transparent about the initiatives you've got and what's working and what's not?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I mean, it's interesting. We issued our first sustainability report, I think it was just over 26 years ago. And it was initiated by our chairman, Bill Ford, who has really been our guidepost and visionary around our whole sustainability journey. Bill tells the story about when he suggested to the company that, you know, we should we should publish a report that talks about our emissions footprint and everything. And they said, you got to be crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the upside of this or what have you? And he said, look, what better time to get out there with a baseline and transparency? And then if the only place we have to go is better, let's snap that line and be proud of everything that we're doing, that we know we're doing. And so, yeah, I mean, for 26 years running, we've been doing our sustainability report. Now we fully integrated into our financial report. And just our most recent report, we're really proud, was done under the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive Guidelines, CSRD. This is a new initiative in Europe that is dictating a little bit more about trying to standardize sustainability reporting. There's been quite a cottage industry around different frameworks for sustainability reporting, but we went ahead and did that voluntarily. It hasn't been fully implemented in terms of a legal requirement yet. It's headed that way. And we also got it third-party endorsed through outside firm as well, so that it is fully in line with those requirements. So the transparency is important, being able to show progress, but again, it also dictates in times of maybe political uncertainty that the company is moving forward. It is all about continuous improvement and sending those signals both to our investors, the market, but to our suppliers as well.
Yeah, it goes to that point that I mentioned in the introduction that there may be headwinds on the policy side and certainly on the federal level, but there's still so many incentives baked into the system. There's consumer demand, there's international forces and international regulations at play, and then there's just building a sustainable company, one that will endure not just the next 3 years, but the next 30 years. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the mindset behind Ford and sort of how you've kept those values in place, throughout your time at the company?
Well, yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, we're a 120-year plus company, year-old plus company. We want to be around for the next 120 years. We also have a legacy in terms of being a family-owned company with the structure that we have in terms of the ownership that the Ford family still has. That helps guide us as well. But again, I think when it comes to the initiatives that you have to do to truly be on the path towards decarbonization, building a sustainable company, making sure investors, other stakeholders understand the resilience behind it, you have to have consistency of values. Those values have to be integrated into the leadership. So the structure that we have inside the company, all the way up through the CEO and the chairman, integrated into our board. We have a sustainability committee of our board that I report to. We'll be there in a couple weeks. That helps reinforce as we go through just the winds of change in our business, keeping that consistency of presence, that leadership, and especially in times like this, I think helping to remind not just ourselves and our employees, but our customers and other stakeholders that our values are true and we're in this for the long haul.
So obviously, this is a difficult time to be in places like this, talking about ideas like this. What are the things that give you hope at this point? What technologies, what innovations, what trends?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess in some respects, is it a difficult time talking ESG sustainability? I don't think so. I don't see it that way. I think, if anything, it reinforces the importance that we have to keep these conversations going. Maybe the ways of engagement differ, depending on what's going on more broadly in the external environment. But I think in terms of where this goes next, it gets back to that same message around when you're a company as big as Ford, you're in kind of the industrial sector, manufacturing, and there's so many pieces to the puzzle. You need to be consistent to send those messages about what your expectations are so others are coming along the journey with you. So, yeah, I mean, I'm always excited to come and talk about what we're doing and what's next and showing how it resonates with customers. It can provide a competitive advantage, whether it's our next generation of electric vehicles that are coming that are going to appeal to, I think the consumers that haven't quite embraced electric yet because of the affordability equation. We're going to continue to talk about hybrids and, fuel-efficient internal combustion engine vehicles. So I think the key thing is you've got to be part of the conversation. You've got to be in the dialogue because that's how you can help then shape policy, which is another part of the role I play when it comes to emission regulations and other things around the world, as you say, Dan.
How do you feel? We've had this conference for a number of years now, and we've been sort of tracking the electrification of the country and the amount of charging stations that are out there. Under the IRA, we thought we were going to surge ahead. A lot of stations didn't get built as quickly as we hoped. But how do you feel about the state of electrification in the United States? And do consumers is there enough infrastructure now to make it a legitimate option for most people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the rate of installation of charging stations, fast charging stations, has ebbed and flowed. Some of the incentives, some of the policy changes that have maybe resulted in some of that slowing. The key is that it's still moving forward. What I found interesting is for a lot of our customers with our first generation of vehicles, predominantly charging at home, finding out that you don't necessarily need to have a 300-mile range battery. Maybe you don't even have to depend as much on public charging stations as you thought. And as they share those stories and use cases, if you're a commercial fleet, you do depot charging. We provide those services to our commercial customers as well. So don't get me wrong, we do need the charging infrastructure built out, but I think more and more customers who are coming into electric vehicles are realizing it's not like everybody has a gas station in their garage. But you do with an electric vehicle have that access to fuel in a lot different places. So, I think as we see other technologies evolve, whether it's these extended range electric vehicles that have the backup generators to maybe help for those customers who need that extra boost of confidence, other plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, we're going to continue to see progress. We're going to sell more electrics this year than we sold last year. There'll be more charging stations at the end of this year than there were last year. So I think it's all about progress.
So as the owner of a Bronco Sport,
yes,
from the first model off the line that I pre-ordered and I didn't custom build it, but I customized before it arrived. When are we going to see an electric Bronco Sport?
Yeah, watch this space, right? I mean, as we continue to look at our overall portfolio, and we're really excited about what we call our second generation of EVs coming off of what's called our universal EV platform, where the first vehicle that's going to come off of that platform is a pickup truck being built at our Louisville plant. The modularity of that program is going to lend itself well into different segments. But
talk a little bit about that second generation. Like, what makes it different than the first?
Yeah, so I think it's a few things. Number one, the battery technology is advanced such that the cost of the batteries are going to come down as we look at different battery chemistries, things like lithium ion phosphate and others. So the battery costs will come down, but also in the manufacturing of the vehicle. So our first generation of vehicles, the Mustang Mach-E, the Lightning, our Transit van, right? Those were essentially conversions of existing internal combustion engine platform vehicles. This universal EV platform is not just going to revolutionize the way the vehicle delivers for the customer, but the way it's manufactured. So three different pieces of the manufacturing process. The battery is actually integrated into the frame. The front and the rear of the vehicle are coming in at different parts of the plant, so it's not just one line. And the opportunity that provides to have more efficient manufacturing for the workers in the plant, more ergonomically friendly, it's going to revolutionize the way vehicles are assembled as well. So a lot more to come on it, but it's going to lend itself to a lot of different configurations, even potentially a small utility, if you will.
So you'll be able to use some of those same parts across multiple product lines?
You bet. That's the beauty of having a dedicated ground-up platform, and especially when we get those efficiency of scale, being able to then hit that lower price point to get more consumers into these types of products will make a big difference.
Bob, it's incredibly exciting stuff. I can't wait to find out more, and definitely let me know when that electric is available, because I pre-ordered the last one.
Yes.
I've got 106,000 miles on it. It's 4.5 years old. So maybe in 2 years?
Let's stay in touch.
Okay. All right, Bob, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Bob.